Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Drams on the Run. As you can see, I'm out and about. I'm currently in the beautiful late autumnal woods. I figured rather than sit in the Black Lodge, which would make it a Black Lodge Ramblings video, I would come to you from a little dog walk with Alfie. During the summer, I attended a couple of whisky festivals, and just last week I was in Glasgow at the Glasgow Whisky Festival, and I thought to myself, I normally put out individual videos for each show I attend, and some people like them, some people don't. Some people get a bit fed up watching other people drink, which is absolutely fair enough. But I thought to myself, you know what would be a good thing to do? It'd be to show the differences and the nuances in each festival, because they are very different. You can hear the parakeets. Who knew the UK would be invaded by parrots? Now, the difference between each festival is quite pronounced when you dig into it a wee bit, and they're no cheap. People are time poor. So you're giving up your time, you're giving up your money. You want to get the bang for your buck. Some can be a wee bit repetitive. I thought to myself, I'll take a little deep dive into the three biggest ones I've attended this year, and I'll let you know my thoughts on them. Now, we're going to do it chronological order. It feels a wee bit easier that way. And the first one I attended this year was the Whisky Fringe in Edinburgh. This year it was held in mid-August, peak Fringe season, and it's on from Friday through to Sunday. I attended on the Friday. It was a beautiful day. Came through from Glasgow, which now, at the time, it wasn't too expensive, but now you're looking at like a £30 ticket return off-peak Glasgow to Edinburgh. You're looking at £30 off-peak Glasgow to Edinburgh. You're also looking at getting back the same day. So if you're planning on going, the problem is with Edinburgh at that time of year is it's peak Fringe. The accommodation is unbelievably expensive. So it does put some people off from going. So I will just note that. I was up as part of the road trip up to Scotland, which I'll put out as a separate kind of vlog style video. I think the first part is up, where I go from Blackpool up to Speyside, and then I've got another couple of bits to add in, but this came at the tail end of that week. I knew I was coming up for the Fringe show, so I kind of turned it into a road trip with my little one and my wife. So it's held in the centre of Edinburgh at a place called Mansfield Triquare. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's like an old church style building. Big queue outside it, kicked off at 2 until 6 PM. And obviously the anticipation to get in is quite high. Royal Mile Whisky do the shop, and in attendance is Springbank. And there was some Springbank available to buy that was snapped up when I spoke to the guy at the desk. It was snapped up really quick. People queue at these shows, something to keep in mind. People queue at these shows specifically to buy bottles and then bugger off. Don't go in the hope that you're going to pick up something amazing, because sometimes they're gone before you even get through the door. Now, when you come in to the venue itself, it's very imposing, beautiful looking venue, big old church style, stained glass windows. The floor itself is kind of just laid out around the edges, and you can walk through the middle. They had quite a lot of independent and small, I wouldn't say independent and smaller big name brands in that area, which was quite refreshing. Ardbeg were there. They were in the far corner, kind of hidden away. Really nice wee area. But they gave precedence right in the centre to Ardnamurchan and Adelphi this year, which was a kind of statement of intent and a statement of, I don't know, a bit of a reward, I felt, to them. On that floor you had Kilkerran, you had Springbank, you had Redbreast, you had, there was tons and tons. Then when you went downstairs, there was a little room off to the side, which was all American whiskies. And then down on the basement level, which was, I don't quite understand, it was like a ground floor, but it was definitely a basement level. You had all the independents or brands. So I'm saying independents, I mean not your traditional big corporate ones. That was really busy. Some amazing people down there, amazing drams. Really enjoyed it, but it does get quite crowded quite quick. And it's downstairs, like quite a lot of stairs for people. So it's worth keeping that in mind. The show got busy. what was really nice about it was you were able to talk to people. Everybody was super friendly. There was a lot of groups. I think the summer sun, everybody was in a good mood. The drams were flowing quite quick.
There's a stand over there.
James Eady, Woven,
Hunter Lang. It's a bottle of 1996 there, and it's just the old phrase "golden nectar."
And it is quite easy to get caught up at a whisky show and doing that. But I had many a chat, accidentally on camera, accidentally off camera. When I tried to record it, I had a bit of a nightmare with the tech. But it was definitely somewhere that you could talk to people if you wanted to, or if you were on your own and you just wanted to go your own path, you could absolutely do that. Now there was tasting masterclass that were advertised beforehand, and I signed up for the Daphne one with Francis Cuthbert, and he was going to take us through 2 drams. It cost an extra tenner. I was really excited. They had it off to the side in the main kind of chamber hall, and the problem with it was there was no mics, and I was only maybe like, you can see in the video, I'm only 6'7" away from him. Couldn't hear a thing. It was like an echo chamber of all the noise in the hall being amplified anywhere I was sat. And I'll shut up now and you can hear it.
I'm sat here now and I can't hear anything. Bit of a shambles. What can you do? It's no Francis's fault, but not thought through at all.
See, exactly. Can't hear a thing. I did complain. I was that guy, but I complained because that was the first masterclass of the weekend, and there was going to be loads happening. And I was just like, you're going to have 1 million people complain they can't hear what's going on. So I think they did sort it, and they got mics in for the speakers so that you could hear what they were saying. And fair play to them, they refunded me my tenner. They emailed me and refunded it. So yes, I wasn't being a Karen, I wasn't complaining for the sake of it. I was just looking long term, because the last thing you want is that experience to be diminished. Yes, you're getting 2 whiskies, but you're getting an entire hall of amazing whiskies that you don't have to pay extra for. So there it was that. Food options. Not a huge amount, to be fair. I think there was a couple of little vans offering something, but that was it. But it was 2 till 6 p.m, so most people had had their lunch and then they were going for dinner. So I will say that if you're going with the expectations of sitting down and eating, there's nowhere to do that. There is no sit down space. Overall, well, I can put up a wee chart here. I had like an hour's worth of footage from this show. I had some amazing drams, chatted to some great people. It was good fun. And then afterwards, very merrily left and went to one of the bars in Leith. But then one of the problems comes up of, it was very quickly 8 o'clock and I had to get back to Glasgow, which is a 45-minute train journey. From the bar, it was 20 minutes to the station. If I missed that train, ScotRail's not the most dependable. So I had to leave quite sharpish. Got home about, I think, 10:30 at night after everything, all things considered. So it is quite an undertaking, and it is worthwhile just maybe, if you want to do it, get accommodation. If you're local to Edinburgh and stuff, it's a no-brainer. But it is just worth saying, it is during the busiest period of the entire year in Scotland's capital. So take from that what you will. I'm not going to give it an award, and I'm not going to give any of these a mark. I just thought it'd be handy for you to know what I experienced as I was out there. Now, next up, we had the London Whisky Show, which, if anyone knows, I've done videos of that before. That's my big show of the year because that's my hometown, my home city show where I live. It goes without saying, it is the UK's biggest show, and it costs as such. It's about 100, 110 quid a ticket for the weekend a day. I think that Friday evenings, so we do Friday 6 till 10 or 6 till 9, 5 till 9, something like that. Then 12 till 6 on Saturday and 12 till 6 on the Sunday. You can buy a weekender ticket, you can buy a 3-day pass, you can buy a 1 evening pass on the Friday. I've done the Friday before. I do find the Friday a bit more boozy for obvious reasons. Saturday seems to be the sweet spot of it's busy, it's enthusiasts, it's the middle of the weekend, you can enjoy yourself. And Sunday, they do quite a lot of masterclasses that are really interesting. And it's just if you have the time. Now, every year I go, I wish I buy the 3-day ticket. It's an outlay. I think it's about £250 or something like that for the 3 days. But there's so much at this show that you can't physically do it in a day. You can definitely not do it on a Friday. This is the only show. This is the only show that I take a map and I spend time with the map when released and mark out who I'm seeing, when I'm seeing them, what order I'm going to see them in, because the size and scale of the place is quite overwhelming. And some other people, Jeff Whisky's done a video about it, about the scale. He got a Friday ticket, and I think he was quite overwhelmed. And before he went, I said, look, try and research. No time, people do it, and then afterwards it's like, I wish I'd spent more time and researched it. Pause a bit. Sorry for that, there was a bit of dog-on-dog action, so I had to pause the recording. As I was saying, it is so big and it's impossible to get around. You will miss out on stuff, so you can't go with that mindset of, oh no, I've not seen it. Just enjoy yourself. The difference between that and the other two that I'm going to talk about is the scale. It is very corporate. You have everyone there. Macallan have a stand. Diageo have a huge area. Like all the big Pernod and everyone, all the players are there, as well as smaller ones. So you can try stuff that maybe you wouldn't buy, or maybe it's got a bad reputation, or maybe it's got a great reputation. So you do get value for your money in the ticket that way. The location itself is bang central London, right opposite London Bridge Station in the Shard at Old Billingsgate Market. It's a huge venue. They lay it out really well. They've got this down. They've been doing it that long now. They know how to do it. And included in your ticket, which is really handy, and for the first year I actually managed to make it this year, was food. I went downstairs and it was like a lamb shank and roast or mashed potatoes. It was fantastic. Just at the right time, because if you're in there for 6 hours, you would expect something substantial. It's underneath the show itself in a beautiful area. Tons of tables that, if you work at the show, they have a Saturday night kind of shindig for all the staff and all the suppliers. And I've always seen pictures afterwards, which looks just a fantastic evening. Now, with the pluses, obviously come the minuses. One being the scale and the size of it. You don't really have as much time, I would say, to talk to people in the community. The community is too spread out, it's too big. You have people from all over the world come to this show. So you're not going to have the same kind of collegiate, fun, friendly nature. Not saying that you won't have fun, friendly people there. It's just a little bit more mainstream and corporate, let's put it that way. It also goes with the stands. You will get time to chat to people, absolutely, but be prepared that you're only going to maybe be able to get a few minutes of their time. They're only going to be able to do it because there's so many people that they're trying to see. You can watch my video last year from the Whisky show or the year before when I first started, and you can see how hectic and manic it is. But it's a fantastic day. I really enjoy it, but it is different to the other two. This year it was held in September as opposed to October when it normally is. I don't know if that was to coincide with the Whisky show in Paris or what was going on, but it was quite early this year. Normally it's October and next year's is back in October. With it being a weekend in London, accommodation prices will be expensive, but they announced it so far in advance. There's not the same expectations what you have in Edinburgh, where there's a finite demand of good hotels and accommodation. You're pretty sorted in London if you book enough in advance. You can also stay further out in London and it doesn't really impact you too much because of the public transport network and where it is at London Bridge. I always find that on the Saturday afterwards, there's pubs nearby and you go round and there's just an amazing atmosphere of people from the stands and stuff, and you can have a chat and really enjoy it that way. So overall, it's a very different experience. It is massive, but if you get the opportunity to go, you're going to try some amazing whiskies, you're going to talk to amazing people, especially if you go upstairs. Upstairs is kind of the, I don't want to call it a rat run of of suppliers. It's a very tight little narrow corridor of just independents, small brands, up and comers. It's great fun, and that's where I spend most of my time when I go to the show now. I whip round the bottom side and then I head upstairs and dig in. And now lastly, the one that happened last week, Glasgow's Whisky Festival, as it's known, or the Glasgow Whisky Festival, GWF. You may have seen my video from last year where I attempted to attend, but life got in the way. So this year I had it booked up in the diary, knew I was going up. I'm fortunate that I've still got family there, my mum. So I was staying at hers, I was flying up Friday, coming back Sunday, and I wish I'd flown up Thursday and came back Monday. It was such a different experience, but it's not the Whisky Festival alone that does that. The festival itself is just one day, 2 sessions. The sessions are 3 and a bit hours long. It's quite short. Ticket price is £45. They sell out instantly. Then the kind of tickets come up in that. So you have to mark it in. I would recommend following them on Instagram, signing up for a newsletter. They'll tell you when they're going on sale. Session 1, which kicks off at 12 till 3:30, sells out. That's the main one. Then there's session 2, which I think starts about 4:30 until 7 or so. We're going to take another break for airplane. Session 1 sells out instantly. Session 2, a little bit more time to get your ticket. The reason session 1 sells out so quickly and the reason the weekend is so busy is because Accommodation, Roy Duff, he has his bar flags kind of unofficial weekender during that, and they go to session 1. Now this year, I think he said on his channel, there was about 80 of them, but they took up, was it 80 or so? But they took up something like 15% of the tickets for session 1 alone. So you will see a lot of that. However, the main thing about this festival and what makes it so good is it's community focused. I got a total of footage of about 15 minutes at this festival, which is the least amount of footage I've ever taken. And the reason for that is because I was talking to so many great people. I was trying so many great drams that every time I got my camera out, someone else would say something and I'd be talking to them, or about, oh, I need to get that, I need to get this. And eventually I just gave in and enjoyed myself. You don't get that in London. You can get caught up in it, but it was a very different feeling. It was very warm. I think that came from also the night before. The Bon Accord is the unofficial, official Glasgow Whisky Festival pub of sorts. So a lot of people that were in town or coming to town for the festival just headed there on the Friday night. And then that rolled into the Saturday and also into the Sunday. Roy held tastings for the first time on the Friday night at the Piper Bar. A lot of people went to that. Then after the first session, a lot of his lot, well, 2 coach loads, went for a curry. And then on the Sunday, he also had a tasting thing. So if you're part of his community, you'll know all this. If you're not and you're interested, go check Roy out. I'm sure you've seen Aquaviti videos before. He does a phenomenal job of organising it all. I couldn't do it. I think it's unbelievable how much he actually does for it. I was with some friends from my whisky group, and as the day goes on, you're just chatting away. We went and grabbed some shawarma afterwards, just something nice and easy. Went to a pub and then went to the Bon Accord. The show itself, I'll put the clips in from the show and I'll give my verdict of post-show. And I feel like those negatives hold up, and it's not a big negative, to be fair.
And we're out. That's us out of the Glasgow Whisky Festival at Hampden Stadium, the National Stadium of Scotland. Great show, a lot of exhibitors. Very quick summary in my part is that the layout is too much. There's a lot of walking back and forward, and it's not. I wouldn't say it's the organiser's fault. It's the layout of the suites that you organise. So you're walking from one end to the other. Exhibitors were great. Some quality under the counter drams. Some quality just standard drams. I saw 2 people. 2 who were a bit drunk out of that for the first session. So behind me, you'll see here, everybody's coming out now. Good spirits, really good. This is session 1, so this is from 12 till 3:30, and then after that you have session 2, and session 2 is it's guys that have been in the pub all day, so I don't know how that's going to go, but great day, fantastic to see people. I would say the community vibe of this festival is very different to other ones. It's a very enthusiastic. Somebody said to me inside, it's like a clique without being a clique, and I would say the same. It's an enthusiast festival. You'll meet everybody. If you've ever done anything online, you'll meet people who also comment online and get involved and do it. Very community feel. Now there's people about to all leave. Aquaviti Roy, he's doing 2 coach loads to Indian. We're going to go and get some food, and then everybody's going to the Bon Accord afterwards. It's a very collegiate, very warm vibe. My only gripe is the way the layout. The only way I can describe it is if I point this up. You don't want to zoom in on me. I'll point this camera up. So like you've got that bit there. You get that bit there. And you have to walk between the two constantly. That's my only gripe. It's my only gripe. Fantastic festival. Right, on to the next bit.
If you're going, Glasgow's affordable in advance for the weekend. It's an affordable city. You can find accommodation. You might find it outside the city centre, but outside the city centre isn't like being outside of London. It's a small area, so you'll manage to find some digs pretty easily. If you go on your own, you'll make friends, you'll meet people, like-minded who just enjoy the whiskey. You'll find that when you go to the Bon Accord, the prices there are really reasonable. You've also got the Pot Still in Glasgow, which I never even had the time to attend, and you've got the Piper, and there's other pubs, and it's more affordable than both other options, I would say. I think the timing of it being in November, peak whiskey season, we're right into it. So the whiskey you're going to be trying, yes, you'll enjoy the light, fruitful palate whiskey, but you'll also have rich, dark, peaty ones. Like one of my favourites was the Glasgow latest release. They did an Isla peated cask. I got to try that. They've just brought out their new peated cask strength batch number 2. Tried that. Springbank were there with their new releases. It's Springbank weekend this weekend, and that everybody's hunting for bottles. So people were able to try the new sherry release and cask strengths and stuff like that. You had Cadenheads there, or Cadenheads, depending how you want to pronounce it, with their Enigma range, which was one of my favourites, the Enigma 10 Lowland blend, which I think was Ailsa Bay, again, however you want to pronounce it. Just great whiskies. You had loads of independent people there. And afterwards, if you're at the Bon Accord in the evening, everybody decamps there, including all the brands and all the reps and stuff like that. And it's just a big whiskey fest in a pub. Bon Accord gets a late licence. Normally they shut at 12 on that weekend, they shut at 1. So you get plenty to do and enjoy. So when I'm looking at my editing files, I have an hour to edit of Edinburgh footage. I have an hour and a half from London footage, and then I have 15 minutes from Glasgow. And I think that shows the different vibe that I experience there. And I'm sure as an individual, you'll have your own preference as well. Cheapest is Glasgow, 45 quid. Edinburgh, 50 for the Fringe. And then most expensive is London. So it's really up to yourself what you want to do and what you want to see. I have a great time at these shows. And as much as that intro has me necking tons, it's all controlled. You drink water, you have spittoons, you just be sensible. Yes, you're going to get merry, but you're drinking whiskey all day, so that's going to happen. Plan accordingly, have food set up for afterwards if you're not eating at the show, and just have a fantastic time. So I just thought something a wee bit different, rather than me just show you me at the show. I thought I'd give you my thoughts. Do let me know in the comments, have you went to whiskey shows? Have you enjoyed them? Do you find it value for money? There seems to be an awful lot of them popping up now, and it's just impossible to get around them all. Is there any that you would shout out? Whisky Live Paris, have you been to that? That looks phenomenal. The English Whisky Festival, that's next week. That looks great. Croydon Whisky Festival we have down here, which I've never been able to attend due to some timing conflicts. Let me know below, let me know your thoughts. If you attended any of these festivals, what did you think? What was your drama of the show? Anyway, I better get back and find Alfie. Cheers for watching.